Casper Labs did a survey, and they surveyed 603 or 604, something like that, enterprises, and 90% of them said that they were going to be implementing some sort of blockchain project. So that is really cool. For businesses that are already using blockchain technology, security and copy protection were cited as the main benefits. Okay. In IT-based operations, respondents were using blockchain for internal workflows, supply chain efficiency, and software development. Well, we know that supply chain efficiency is an incredible benefit of blockchain. We already have examined and seen that in various examples. So the interesting one to me was the software development. We know that it can be used as a governance tool, that governance can be embedded in a blockchain while you're developing the blockchain. It could also, of course, be developed as a governance tool by itself to manage other projects. So that's way cool to see that mentioned in an article. And then internal workflows kind of goes along with that governance thing, because you can write smart contracts also with a blockchain and maintain a workflow. You know, this person approves it, then it goes on to the next person for approval and the next person for approval. So workflows can also be automated quite easily on a blockchain. So that's interesting that those three are the ones that this Casper survey picked up, because we don't generally see the software development and internal workflows piece of it. What I'd like to talk about, though, is something that I teach in the master's class. And I thought, since this article was brought up, it was so closely allied to what we teach in the second week of the master's blockchain class. Finn Strathern is the one that wrote the article for the block. I'm very familiar with Finn's writings. He is not technically proficient in blockchain. So there were a lot in that article that indicated that, of course, he wasn't all that proficient. Remember, every time a blockchain article is written and they refer to cryptocurrencies taking a large dive, but it hasn't affected the enthusiasm for blockchain, well, it just means that they haven't yet got to the point of being able to divide the two in their mind, that cryptocurrencies are one flavor of the industry, but blockchain for business is a whole different flavor and a different animal. And Finn is probably considered, a jack of all trades, master of none. In other words, he writes on a broad range of topics. So he does bring up some good information, though I've never seen him take the missteps that the Motley Fool does. But, Finn has his shortcomings. So I'd like to kind of add to what he says in the respect that businesses are implementing very, very quickly and at a high rate, but businesses don't always implement the way you think they are, okay? They're talking big games a lot of times, and they're talking about this brand new technology where they can see and work with this new tech and increase security and, everything that goes with the positives of blockchain. But a lot of times there's about 4 different categories that they end up falling into that are considered what they call blockchain incomplete solutions. And let me show you for an example. Some of them are just FOMO. They want to implement a blockchain because it's a fear of missing out. They want to be able to say that they've implemented a blockchain, but they implement a blockchain in a way that it just replaces what a database could do. It only replaces what a relational database could have easily done, probably at half the cost or less. There aren't any outside participants outside their corporation. They might be using it just to link up a bunch of outlying offices or something so that they'd have some distribution, but all the data is kept in a central location. And essentially, it's no better than what their IT department could have done without even learning blockchain at all. So those fall in the FOMO camp, the fear of missing out camp. They kind of just want to get their toes wet, but they really don't want to dive into the pool. The next one is the Trojan horse implementation. Now, the Trojan horse implementation is one where a company decides that they want maybe their supply chain to get involved with blockchain, but they want their supply chain to feed all of their data to them. So the data is all held by the owner of the enterprise, and they just require all their participants. Oh, by the way, there's this software you need to add to your arsenal in order to do business with us. It's kind of like telling them that they have to be part of their same enterprise resource planning system or their supply chain management system, kind of like injecting themselves into an SAP system or other larger ERP system. But the data is all held by the one company. The data is all the benefit of the one company. It's not distributed. It's not left so that the company keeps their proprietary data. They're just giving their proprietary data a lot of times to the company that holds the blockchain. So this is another situation where an SAP system, a regular ERP system, supply chain management system possibly could have been used to just as good of efficiency and probably cheaper because they wouldn't have had to learn a brand new technology. So that's the Trojan horse. Now, these are the two that are at the lower end of blockchain implementations. And I would venture to bet that when they come up with a 90% figure of companies that are implementing a blockchain, that a good number of them are just going to be FOMO or Trojan horse. They're just going to be tiptoeing into the water to say that they've been there and done that, for stockholder purposes, whatever. Now, you get a little bit farther into the pool, maybe wading into the shallow end, when you apply a solution to a problem that blockchain seems to be a good fit for, and that has enough benefits to the corporation to make it viable. So there's an opportunity to try out this brand new technology to solve this problem. And it's probably a good fit to solve this problem, but they never get into the decentralized aspect of the blockchain and really broaden it out to other competitors to use and to fully create nodes that are decentralized and to the far-flung areas of the world. It just never develops into anything that is, truly viable. Australia was trying to replace their thing called CHESS, CHESS, which stood for their system of managing their stock markets and transaction data. They tried for about 3 years and finally did away with the project because it just wasn't going anywhere. Now that would have been what they call an opportunistic solution, because it was designed right from the get-go to benefit the exchange itself and never to really benefit other exchanges or other places of business, other than the fact that they would just link into it. But the exchange itself would just track all of their data, and it would be just this blockchain searching for a viable solution to solve. And so those are opportunistic solutions. They have a real problem. They could probably make good money if efficiencies if they implemented a blockchain, and they may or may not be successful in accomplishing that. Now, there's a next thing that gets a little bit closer. It's called an evolutionary solution. These are implementations that when they first design it, they design it with the idea that it's going to be centralized, but that it has the option to become decentralized later. So it starts with centralization. Now, one example of this is TradeLens. TradeLens was developed with IBM and Maersk as pretty much a centralized evolutionary solution. They worked very hard after they got it up and running to get other people to get involved. Their major competitor would not even consider it. Hapag-Lloyd was their major competitor, and they dragged their feet for over 2 years before they actually joined the TradeLens group. But that was only after about 5 other companies actually joined TradeLens and began to get a more decentralized system so that they could then feel more comfortable that they weren't just giving all their data as though it were a Trojan horse to Maersk. So when Hapag-Lloyd joined it, then a lot of other companies joined it, and there were 16 total companies before they shut down the TradeLens blockchain just a few months ago. So basically what I wanted to say is, yes, there are probably companies out there, 90% of them saying, hey, we're implementing a blockchain solution. Some of it's going to be PR. Some of it's just going to be putting your toe in the water. Some of them's just going to be kind of wading out into the shallow end of the pool. But very few of those, when from a company standpoint, are really saying, yes, we've dove into the deep end of the pool, and all of these other companies have joined with us to make a full featured and decentralized solution, which blockchain is meant to become. So, Finn Strathern, you did a good job bringing up a good subject, but I just wanted to take it a little bit further and show you what all the phases are in getting a blockchain solution actually implemented. Okay.